Gentlemen, welcome to the Speak Out this 24th of September 2020. We apologize for the delay. We had a bit of a technical issue, but we are on and we are live. So please share this video, send it out to all your friends, and make sure that you join the conversation today. Today we have Postbank joining us. We have their marketing manager, Mr. Benson Wanyoike, and we also have the brand officer for youth products, Mukami, who will be with us, and we are going to be discussing the state of financial opportunities for the youth in Kenya. So if you're young and you've been wondering how you can make money, how to save, how to invest, what to do with money, how to access money, and that financial discipline, today we're going to be talking about an array of things all to do with finances and the state of financial opportunities for youth. So very quickly, I'll just let them introduce themselves, starting with Mr. Benson.
Thank you, Richard. My name is Benson Wanyoike. As you have been told, I'm the marketing manager of Postbank, and I'm happy to be here to get into this conversation about youth finances. And I look forward to good engagement and having good conversations. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mercy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mukami. I'm the brand officer at Postbank, and I'm glad to be here to talk about money matters.
All right. And as always, I am your host, Richard Oketch from Youth Agenda, and this is the Speak Out. Now, very quickly, before you get into the meat of the matter, just want to know, because you both have a background in finance, and you are going to be speaking to us about finances, what is your earliest memory of money? Your earliest memory of money and how you realized money was actually important in this life. Benson.
Thank you. Well, this must have been a long time ago, but where I come from, up country, we live near a shopping center. So occasionally I'll be sent to the shops to buy something, and of course I'll be sent with money. And that was my initial interactions with cash. At times there would be change, and as I went to the shop, I could see there are sweets, there are nice things which are displayed there. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to pick them, but they were not part of what I was sent for. So initially, sent the shop, buy this, and come with change. That I can say is my initial.
All right, and for you, Mercy?
Okay, my most memorable encounter with money, incidentally, is at Postbank. Mm-hmm. My mom had an account with Postbank, and she had the yellow book. So I remember very well going with her to one of our branches, which was Afya Center, and I can even see the counter and her transacting.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was my earliest memory with an encounter with money.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So today, as we had mentioned, it's all about money. We're talking money matters and finances for the youth. And very quickly, just to start us off, Mr. Benson, we have people hear the term financial literacy. It's something that has come up, and many people want to understand it better. So what is financial literacy, and what are some of the core competencies that this financial literacy actually entails?
Okay, thank you for that question. I think we at Postbank, we look at our mandate, and our key mandate is an institution that is owned by the government, is to inculcate a culture of savings among Kenyans. And while doing this, it is imperative that we talk matters of financial literacy. And as we do this, we are trying to look, number one, at the wider scope, like we are aware about the Vision 2030.
Yes.
And for some of us who may be aware, there are three pillars of the Vision 2030. There is one on political, there is one on social, there is one on financial. So under the financial pillar, I think Kenya is looking at being a middle industrialized country by 2030. And for it to achieve this, some things must work out right. Right now we have an average gross domestic savings of about 17%. And for us to get where we want to be, we want to be at 30%. So we have to work hard to increase our savings. And some of the institutions that the government has been using to spread this message that we need to save more in order to get where we want to be in that vision is Postbank. And therefore we have a lot of conversations with Kenyans. And I'm happy to be in a youth forum this day. We talk to them on these issues of savings and financial literacy. And we stress, as you asked me, maybe some 4 pillars. And one of these pillars I want to talk about is the aspect of now setting aside out of the income you have. Whatever income you have, and I'm saying this because we interact with money at different ages and for different uses. Allow me to say this: young people, sometimes they will be given gifts in form of money. Maybe they'll be having either a party or a birthday party, or someone has been given some chores and you'll be told, if you do this, I'll give you a reward. So there could be an element of money. So we insist that part of what you get is good not to spend that money, keep something aside. The other aspect we talk about is also avoiding liabilities. As young people, we find there's so many good things that are on offer. Of course, with the digital age, there are so many gadgets and very tough ones and very, modern ones. And sometimes you want them, you don't have money, so sometimes you might, be forced to borrow. And I know my colleague will talk about how people do borrow, especially young people. But we also ask people to avoid liabilities, especially for consumption. You could get into a liability for something that is going to be, giving you some income. But we normally advocate for, young people to avoid liabilities which are not necessary. But this one requires another pillar. We talk about financial discipline. That discipline is not very easy to do, but it is something that you can build from a young age as you grow. That when you hold finances, you're able to, relate to that finance well. That there's a tomorrow. There's some important things, and you also need to do some bit of planning and budgeting for what kind of money you have. And I will say this because now, even from a high school perspective, we used to get money. As youth, we get money, pocket money. And one of the issues that has been there when we are going for replenishment of pocket money from our parents is something your parents asking you, the amount I give you, Imeisha. So what does that mean? Is that I want you to have consumed all that money, but I can give you another one. So I look at a case like, can you imagine if you asked your parent asked you, from the money I gave you maybe 500 shillings, have you finished everything? You say, no, mom, or no, dad, out of what you gave me, I have kept aside 200 shillings for use. You feel good and nice as a parent. So again, we also talk about the issue of financial discipline, and the other item is also, which is very important in the financial literacy, is investment. I know my colleague Mercy talk about it later on, but we look at investment as something that you will put money into that can give you a return. And taking you back to savings, for you to invest, you need some capital. And going back, how do you get capital? I want to say that you will need, from whatever income you have, you need to save some money, you build a pool of capital, and depending on what you want to do from the capital that you put together, then you can be able to invest, and from investment you get some returns. Those are the kind of things that we talk about in financial literacy.
Thank you very much for that. And for young people especially, how can they access such training? Are there opportunities or platforms where this information is passed? Is it available? Is there a course? How can young people access such information on financial literacy?
Okay, again, thank you for that question. As an institution at Postbank, we are very instrumental in that area because we have a network of 98 branches all over the country. So what we normally do is that we engage into drives that reach out to the various areas in society. We will go to schools, we go to primary schools, We go to high schools, we go to colleges, we go to universities. Sometimes we go even to institutions and have programs that we can be able to inculcate in a very short time, maybe 30 minutes, this information. And what we have in our experience, we only need a break time, like for example, because time is very limited. You know how schools are, time is limited. We have to get maybe break time, we're able to share some things with sometimes the teachers. For children, we look at times when they have clubs that are taking place, and we're able to share this. Now I know possibly there are other financial players in the market who have their own plans, but what we do now is an institution that we have kind of institutionalize that aspect of going out for financial literacy drives across this kind of a sector. I have to say that it's a business that is quite expensive, because you have to go out and talk to people, and of course this is as a mandate. We are really doing government work, and again, from what I had said earlier on, we want to help Kenyans increase their capacity to save, so that we can be able to get into our Vision 2030.
Okay, so, and just before we get to you, Mercy, one last thing. Given the experience you have and the drives you've had and the times you've interacted with people on financial literacy, how great is the need, if you were to quantify, how great is the need for financial literacy in Kenya right now?
That's a good question. Again, some of us may have been able to access some reports that are done by what they call FinAccess, that shows the level of financial literacy or the reach of financial, financial services in the country. So right now I think we are doing in excess of about almost 80%, but there are some areas where we have not yet reached people are not able to access finances. So what we can say that there is still a demand for financial services, and I can also point out that much of this increase for the last maybe 10 years has been caused because of mobile money, because people are able to interact with accounts on phone. However, not much information has been available to them, like I've said earlier on, about the kind of pillars that you need to talk about, because at Postbank we try to tell Kenyans that even as you handle money, we sometimes want to make money not so much accessible to you, because when you are saving, we find that sometimes there is because of technology, there are very many ways also of getting money out of that savings, and your savings might end up becoming depleted. So what you have come up with, that we have some instrument that you have come with, or some accounts that we are able to control how much you can make a withdrawal, so that when you save for a particular purpose, you can save maybe for 3 months, for 6 months, without access to that money, so that you can be able to achieve the goal that you have set. And we also have different kind of accounts that we have to make sure that people keep money without necessarily, so that they can achieve their objectives of building their capital and investing, so that they can also improve their wealth and grow wealth or personal development.
All right, thank you very much for that. I believe that is very practical, and it's also information that young people also need to hear and actually get access to. And I like the fact that you mentioned, with finances moving towards mobile, then we believe like there will also be an opportunity for, say, a platform where this information can be availed on your phone, because as you mentioned, the financial services are easily available on your phone, but the information and the financial literacy training and competence that you need, a lot of it still needs to be put, in manners that can be digested via a mobile phone platform. But now moving to banking and savings and young people. Do you think young people save? Let me just start there. From where you sit, do you think young people are saving out there?
I would say we are largely a consumption we're a consumption generation. There's so much we can do with money, and you see, especially when you don't have a budget or you don't have a plan, it's so easy to have 200 shillings on your phone. You see a nice blouse for the ladies and you buy, or you see a nice shoe and you buy it. So I would say we are largely consuming economy or a consuming segment. So the reason or the need for banking is so that you have a plan. You know, when you keep this money on your phone, you have someone who will ask you, Niaje, do you have 200 shillings on my phone? On your phone, can you send me?
Yeah.
You have that money on M-Pesa, so you'll definitely send it. So the need for having a financial account or banking is so that you can be able to put that money aside and plan for it. Then you can be able to say, I have a goal. You know, one of the issues that we are facing as youth is unemployment. But can you save and start an income generating activity that will be able to make you financially independent? You know, so there's a real need to have financial services to be able to save so that you can work towards a goal. Yeah.
All right. And for the young people out there who are already, say, into this culture of saving, and they have proper established banking systems which they rely on for day-to-day finances, what would you say are the opportunities available to them with regards to their banking and saving? Like, how is this going to be beneficial to them in the long run? What opportunities are there for them to actually ensure that this benefits them?
Okay, I will answer that question in terms of time. You know, sometimes we think, you just think about what you can see. You're not seeing 5 years from now or 10 years from now. But there's also the issue of time, being able to look back and say, I have done this in the last 3 years, or I've done this in the last 5 years. So when you save, and one of the things when you go to these forums is we're telling the youth that you can start with any amount of money. You can start with any amount. Say, for example, very small amount of money, say 50 shillings. If you're able to put 50 shillings a day for a year, that is 18,000 shillings. If you're able to put 100 shillings a day, that is 35,000 shillings. If you're able to put 200 shillings a day, that is 72,000 shillings. So if today I came and told you, hey, 72,000 shillings, what can you do with that money? You know, you can't look at it in piecemeal. You have to look at the whole picture, that I can be able to work towards a goal. Give yourself time. Say, in the next 1 year I want to start a business. It could be a noble business. It could be uploading videos on YouTube. It could be selling merchandise on the shop. It could be a movie shop. Can you have a goal? Because what we are realizing is that, especially even during this time of COVID, unemployment has hit everyone. So are you able to innovate and start something that will enable you to be financially independent? So at Postbank, we have products that enable you to save from anywhere, and you can open this account on mobile. It's a digital product, such that you can work towards your goal. You can be able to save and financially get financially independent. Yes, thank you.
And thank you very much for that. And from where you say you are dealing mainly with youth products. And what would you say has been something that you have noticed about youth and money with regards to products that work for young people in terms of financially?
Sorry, just repeat that.
So financially, you deal with youth products, right? What would you say are some of the products that you feel are really appealing to young people and are easily accessible, that can help them get into banking and have a saving culture?
Of course, the fact that I come from Postbank, I'd like to talk about our digital product. It's called M-Sawa, and this account is very easy to open because you just need to send the starting amount or how much money you want to save through sending the money through paybill. That is Safaricom paybill 200,999, and then it will ask you for the account number. You put in your ID in caps, the letter ID, and then you put a space and you put your ID number. Then you put the amount. Once you put the amount, it will ask you for your M-Pesa PIN, and then once you send that message, you will automatically open an account. So that is one of the simplest ways that you can start saving. Just make that first step towards achieving your goal.
I like what you've mentioned, especially about time. We are very well aware that young people, we have been labeled as an instant generation. Many of the older folk have told us, you guys just want things instantly, you guys just want things to be done immediately. You are the noodles generation, if I may use that one.
Yeah.
But you have said there's the aspect of starting small,
Yes.
or starting with the amount that you have,
Yes.
but you also give it time.
Yes.
Because as Benson mentioned earlier, there are financial products and accounts that are limited towards how much you can withdraw if you are saving in that account. So they tell you, like, you open this account, you place this amount of money every month, you are not allowed to access this money until, say, 6 months are over or 12 months are over. So that is actually being disciplined by force. That is financial discipline by force. Yeah. So many people need to understand that whole concept of time.
Yeah.
So basically, anyone out there who's trying to invest, who's trying to save, they need to understand and appreciate that it will take time.
Yes.
There's nothing that will happen 2 months from now, 3 months of saving, unless you're saving maybe 3 million a month. So yeah. So we have anyone who's watching us, please understand that we are giving things time. We do not want to start anything and then give up on the way after 6 months or 7 months. And I know it's tough to hear, but like if you look at one person and tell them, I'm giving you 72,000, they look at it as a big amount. But as you've mentioned, if I was putting in 100 shillings daily for a whole year, that still amounts to that 72,000. So there's that process of time that many people need to appreciate and understand. And also looking at the bigger picture, because if I'm looking at finances and if I'm looking at investing, I think to myself, okay, so I'll save today and next month or after 3 months, and along the way, I might start losing my vision. How would you encourage a young person who's gotten to a point where, say, they had started saving, they had, gotten some financial discipline, and then in March, COVID happened, they don't have access to money now, or revenue streams are not that consistent. How would you advise someone to save through a pandemic? What do you do with the money that you have and what you had set aside as your savings during such a serious time where everyone is affected financially? Yeah. So maybe Benson, because you can give us further advice, and then we can hear from Mercy as well.
Okay. Thank you for that question. I think it has not been a better time to appreciate the value of savings than this time that we have been having the pandemic of coronavirus. And I was just discussing with some youth, I think about 2 weeks ago, that one of the things that COVID has come in to show us, for those people who may be working, because I'm youth, some of us are working, is that I think from March, there were some incentives that came through the government. Like, for example, the taxation was changed a certain percentage. And so I was telling the group that that differential of about 5% should need to go to savings, because this is some money that you have not planned for to take a windfall.
Yeah.
Don't say this is Kwangukia or anything else. Just put it aside, and you'll find it's going to work out for you. But to get back to the question that you asked about, I think it is the importance of
the savings through a pandemic, and also what encouragement would you give someone who's very tempted right now to dip into their savings jar, because we're in a pandemic. Things are tough. What do you do?
Yeah, actually it's like you look at what is happening around the country now, is that from the reports that are coming up, is like the curve is flattening, but there's a lot of precautionary messages coming from the government that we need to continue being cautious. And I can see you observing our distances here. Yeah, but the point is that since we do not know for how long, we can't be really certain about what's going to happen. I think the aspect of putting something aside is very important, because some of the people who are keeping their staff or their employees on their jobs is because of becoming very considerate. So such that should anything happen now, that somebody has to to be either be put on a half pay or to be laid off. You know, that aspect of saving now will come to, you know, it will be a good point of starting off because you have something that you put aside. So I think the aspect of saving has become more pronounced now during the pandemic, and how people, even people who have been laid off, can be able to go back and see what have they put aside. They really understand the aspect of saving. Yes. So I continue to ask all of us, the youth, and even those who are not youth, to just embark on that aspect of saving.
Mercy, what would you tell any young person out there who's tempted right now to disrupt their saving routine, or now their salary is now halved, or they're now on a minimal, or when you're operating on a skeleton budget? How would you encourage someone out there right now throughout this period to still maintain that course?
Okay.
Yeah.
I will also say something small about being financially independent. Yes, I have saved. I have this money that I have set aside. We're in a pandemic. I don't know how my next 2 months will look like. So can I dip in on my savings and invest that money? What opportunity am I seeing in my community, or even in my area of jurisdiction, that I can meet, a need that I can meet, that can start an income generating activity?
Yes.
And an income generating activity does not have to be very capital intensive. For example, we have seen phones. You can do a video with a phone and try and market that product. There are online jobs. Can you buy bundles and maybe log into online platforms and look for online work? So apart from just savings, these savings should be able to transform your life. That is through an investment. And there's so many opportunities. We saw media clips of people who are in employment selling food, across the bypasses and everything. Definitely at the end of the day we all have to eat. So can you start something, maybe even selling fruits or selling vegetables? So basically identify, be very conscious about the activities that or the opportunities that are around you, and cash in on that, so that 2 months from now you can be able to be sustainable. You can be able to sustain your standards of living. Yeah.
I like what you have both mentioned, and one thing that many young people nowadays struggle with is their image. How do you tell a young person who was working in an office, everyone knew this is the guy who has a stable job, and now you're telling him, you know what, you can sell fruits, you can sell food on the roadside, you can look for an opportunity to invest in that small income that you had towards meeting a need in society that can generate some income? How do you advise young people on this whole issue about image, and then thinking, for me to make money, I need to be in a position where I cannot do certain things? Like now, you tell someone to leave after their job, weekends, or bypass, cooking or selling food or selling fruits, or just doing something that normally society would have perceived as, hey, is that really a job you should be doing with your degree, with your job, your 8 to 5, what is happening? Yeah. How would you tackle this whole issue about public perception and personal perception as well?
Okay. Thank you. That's a very pertinent question. And I want to say something. You need to have look within yourself and identify your passion. What am I good at? Sometimes we are defined by our jobs, but that should not define us, because we need to identify what is my passion, what am I really about, what cause can I fight for even when I don't have a pay. That is the first place to start.
Yes.
Because I would say, for example, I love photography and I love music. So out of those two passions, can I find something that can bring income? If you guys are online, I know you're online. We have seen people making money through funny videos, and they're getting a lot of views, and these people are earning a lot of money. So think broadly. Don't just think food. I was saying food because definitely at the end of the day we have to eat.
Yes.
You have to eat. So that's a very quick win. But look within yourself. Can you play an instrument? How can you make money out of it? People are stressed. So can you play music for them and you're entertaining them and they pay you? Can you write articles? Can you start a blog that can be income generating? So we need to think broadly on how we can even give ideas in the digital space. A lot of us know. I was in a forum with some ladies, and they approached me and asked me, "Can you help me navigate through the Zoom?"
Yes.
So if you're able to just know how does this Zoom operate, how do I create they're called a breakout session.
Yes.
You can earn money. Someone will appreciate you and say, "Oh, thank you. We've learned something new from you." So it's not. I don't think we need to overthink this. Just think broadly of a solution that you can provide to the people around you. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Benson, what would you advise young people out there?
Yeah, what I can add here is just to support what Mercy has said, is that we people have to reinvent ourselves. We have to rebrand ourselves. We have to look at some things that are, happening in the community, and then we align themselves to them, so that we can be able to make some sense out of it. So the aspect of doing things that we have not done before is also very important. And I don't want to repeat what Mercy has said, but there are many things that are musts. People must do. People must dress. People must eat. People must drink. People also want to consume, a lot of media. And of course, if you can be able to align yourself to some of these areas, I think you make a lot of impact, and in the process, you'll be able to make some living. And I have to continue stressing that money matters matter. So I think at the end of it all, we have to really change and also think big with it and simply, so that now we don't sit there waiting for complex projects, complex ideas. I don't have money. We have just continued to say that, and you start in a small way, you'll be able to make it. Allow me to stress one thing that we are also finding as is important, is that when you keep on saving some little money, I would encourage us to also save for opportunities. All of us know that opportunities do not just come every day. And when an opportunity comes around, the person who takes advantage of that opportunity is somebody who has put some resources aside. And this one will come out of savings. So you might find somebody is selling a very good camera that you can be able to use to take photos and be able to go online. Or something is being sold, but somebody wants some ready cash. So you ask yourself, who is able to take advantage of this? This is an opportunity. Somebody possibly who had an account, maybe at Postbank, as if an account, will just go get his money or her money and come and be able to pick up that item and make better use of it.
Yes.
Or possibly somebody is selling an item that you can buy at a throwaway price, and you can be able to buy that item and repackage it and maybe make some money out of it. So I think it's a matter of rebranding ourselves, reinventing ourselves, and getting simpler and to the point.
All right. Thank you. That's actually very pertinent, and I'm actually learning a lot as well as we go by. And I hope you, as you watch, you're learning a lot from us and picking the information that you need. So please remember, we are live on Facebook and Instagram. If you're watching us and you have something to say, give us your comments. If you have a question or a query, or you need clarification on anything that we mentioned, please make sure that you put it out there on the comment section, and we will be sure to follow up on your issues and whatever it is that you would like us to discuss based on today's conversation. Now, moving on to another part of this conversation today is youth and investments. How do youth invest given the opportunities that they have? What should they invest in? What advice would you give a young person who comes up to you and tells you, I'd like to invest, I don't know where to start, I don't know how, I don't know what to invest in? What direction would you give them with regards to investment as a young person?
Okay. I would say there are various ways of investment. You can look at it long term and you can look at it short term. So there are short term investment opportunities like shares, bonds. It just depends on what you want to achieve. And even starting a business is also a form of investment. So it really depends on what your needs are. And I would say that we are available to offer advice based on what you're looking at. We have also products that enable you to save for a duration of time, and you earn interest out of that saving. Actually, Postbank is the only bank that offers tax-free interest in all our savings products. So you can be able to say, I have this amount of money and I'd like to save it for maybe 6 months, 1 year, and we will give you a return on those savings. Yes.
Right. Benson, how would you advise young people with regards to investments? How do they go about it? What do they need to know? Yeah.
I think I'll take them back to the aspect of no money is little, so you can be able to put some money together. And for you to invest, just like I indicated earlier on, you need to build up your savings into a pool, you get into the capital, and then of course you will have some ideas, personal ideas of what you have seen working out with other people. And this is an area that requires a lot of research into what is it that you want to do, because you have taken some time, saved some money, you have built up some capital, and you want to invest into an income generating project. So what do you get into? Do you buy possibly, do you start dealing with clothes? Do you get a stall? Do you buy a motorbike, and then rent it to somebody to be getting an income? So again, this is where you attest your preferences and also things that are working out. And just like Marcy had said earlier on, you also need to look at the community and look at what is in demand in this community and where can I be able to take part in this kind of a chain. So that is going to help you now to know where to put in your money. So we keep on telling people that as you put money in the bank, you are accumulating your savings into capital so that you can be able to get into that goal that you have always wanted to do. Again, depending on what you do, how much you get, how much you save, determine what kind of business that you are going to get into. So we are willing to discuss and give ideas. If you want to go into this area, what do you need to have a look at? But I think the aspect of research is very important, and what are the requirements for this area is also very key. So that we may input on this.
You've actually mentioned something about key areas and giving advice on things that people should invest in and what they should be interested in.
Yes.
If I was to ask, 5 years ago, we didn't know that we would have Uber. We didn't know that we'd have certain digital platforms that would work and earn people money. If you were to be like prophetic, and I'm channeling your prophetic powers here, right? If you were to have a vision into the future, what would you say is the way to go with investments 5 years from now? If there was one thing that you would tell someone, look out for this one thing, or try and invest your money through this line. And I know this is a tough question because you have to think through a lot of things, but what would you advise young people with regards to investments, especially for the future?
What comes into my mind straight away is everything is going online in terms of even shopping and acquisition of goods. You find now, and I think also the pandemic has also brought a lot of impact and changes in this space. So I think people can jointly work an outfit together that can be able to help them participate in how they can be able to do business online, like supplying groceries to people, get into applications that can be able to have that shopping, because they are existing there today, main ones, we know them. So I think that's a space that I think is a must go for people wanting to invest. It can be in a small way, depending on the scale, but the issue of now people not having to make physical movements, now we have to think about how can we be able to have these things online. And there are people available to make deliveries once you be able to make that online connection between the buyer and the seller. That would be my contribution in terms of investment.
All right, so digital platforms and going online.
Yes.
All right, so we would also like to hear from our live audience, and we have content here that we get to hear what some of them are saying. Someone has asked, this is a Kenyan designer, they've asked these are Kenyan designers. That's their handle, Kenyan designers. What are the unique benefits that I will get as a youth in Postbank as opposed to other financial institutions, considering Postbank is one of the oldest financial institutions in the country? Yeah. So the unique benefits they will get as a youth by investing and taking up services with Postbank.
Okay. I would say first, we don't have any hidden charges. Can I speak in Swahili?
Yeah, please do. Feel free.
Utapata pesa yako imetolewa and you don't know, you can't account for it and say, oh, I don't know where this 200 came from. So there are no hidden charges, there are no monthly charges. Also, as I mentioned before, our products are tax-free. So, meaning that if you invest with us and you save with us, you're able to get interest on your savings. Apart from that, we have branchless banking, which enables you, if you have any issue, you can walk to any Postbank branch and you will be able to be assisted. So you don't have to have a domiciled account in a specific branch. Yeah, and maybe Mr. Wanyoike can add some more.
I think also that aspect of accessing, the bank through a pay bill 200-999, you can be able to channel your savings without having to make a physical visit, to the bank. Of course, we are limiting our movements because of all this social distancing issue. But I'd like to stress that aspect of tax-free. Of course, any interest you get must be subjected to a 15% withholding tax.
Yes.
So that one, the government has waived it for all Postbank savers. So, and I think that's a benefit that's not available in other institutions. So we welcome most of you to save with us. And particularly with the account that Mercy spoke about, Msawa, that you just need to sit at the comfort of wherever you are and got the pay bill, 200-999, and of course set your ID number, start with the amount, you get an account, and then you can continue saving for the passion that you have.
All right, thank you. One question: what percentage of someone's earnings should go into saving?
This is a good question. Of course, in terms of now budgeting, we would possibly encourage that you put the huge part of your money into saving. However, you have to be realistic. You have some bills to meet. So we would normally encourage a minimum of 10% going into savings. And of course, as you do the savings, you'll be just like I said earlier on, accumulate some capital to do something that can also be generating. But as you get on, whenever you get an opportunity to have an extra income, again, don't stick to that 10%. You can also get into a higher level, because as you heard what I said earlier on, we are looking at getting into up to 30% by 2030. So if you can be able to be rotating between 10% and 30%, that would be very ideal.
All right, 10% minimum. Minimum 10%, but the preferred one is between 20 to 30%.
30%, yes.
All right. One question now. Another question here is a saving plan better than saving for a pension plan? And what is the advantage of either? Like having a saving plan and someone saving for a pension plan.
Okay.
Yeah. And how does that work as well for those who do not even understand how? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. About the pension plan, as the youth, sometimes we're just thinking about now. But take an instance where you retire at 55 or even 60, and you probably live up to 70 or 80. You have a whole 20 years ahead of you. And what will you be doing during that time? So you need to think about a savings plan that will enable you to cushion you during that period, so you can be able to live the same standard of life that you are living during your more active years. If you're buying a newspaper every day, you should be able to still buy that newspaper. You should be able to have bundles if that time we'll still have bundles. So it's also good to have an investment in terms of a pension plan, where you're saying I'm saving this, then once I hit this age, I can be able to get some small amounts from my pension plan. Yes.
So ideally, they should plan to have both.
Yes.
Have a saving plan, but also have a pension plan.
Yes.
And one thing that many young people don't talk about or don't get told is retirement.
Yes.
What would you advise a young person about retirement right now? Like, I've just finished my degree, I've just gotten a job. What should I know about work and retirement?
Great. I think it is interesting because this is possibly something that maybe you didn't want to hear about retirement when you're just starting to work.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fact. Retirement is a reality. It has to happen at one time or the other. And so it is important from the word go when you start working. It's also good to understand for how long do you want to work. And of course you also need to understand that your strength and your zeal to work, I would say the graph goes, it will go up and then it will start going down, because you cannot be as strong as you are maybe at 20, the same way, same strength at maybe the age of 35, 50 and above. So it's always good from the word go to plan what is my future going to be. I have to prepare for my future. When I'm not going to be very strong to work, I need to be able to have put my investment in a way that when I'm not strong to work, the investments that I've put into place will be now working for me when I'm not, when I'm not working. So I think getting back again to the message of saving is that you have to know at the end of it all, there's a time that you will not be working. So it is important that you start thinking as you start working that one day you will retire. It's a reality. It's not something to scare you. I mean, it's going to happen, but the best is to prepare for it so that when you know you are being retired, it's not coming to you as a shock. You prepare for it slowly and plan for it. I see nowadays young people are not planning to work for long because they want to be doing things that they think they have a passion for, they think they love. So I think the idea of now, retirement is something that is a reality. So you must prepare for it from the beginning when you start working.
All right.
And can I add something?
Yes.
So what I would also add to what Mr. Wanyoike has said, if you start saving towards retirement when you're 20, do you know your benefits are actually higher as opposed to someone who starts saving at 40 or 35. That is the power of compound interest. So think about, can I start now because I have the information, and later you will be able to reap more benefits.
Yeah.
That is something that you think when I'm 30 or 40 I'll start saving towards retirement. But it's better when you start saving early. You can even do small dedicated amounts that will benefit you later. Yeah.
So we should start preparing for retirement as soon as we can already start working.
Yes.
We should always have that in mind.
Yeah.
Right, one Instagram viewer here, Youth Code Kenya, they're asking, what is the advantage of Postbank compared to a SACCO with regards to investments?
Well, that's a good question also. I'll just stress back to what we said. We spoke about there are pros and cons, of course, of being in a savings bank and in a SACCO, but let me talk about the aspect of if you're investing now with us, you're putting your savings in us, is the issue of no tax on the interest that you have. So the only distinct that I can say we are different from the SACCO. Of course, on the SACCO side, once you are a member of a SACCO, you also be, there are some benefits that possibly you might accrue, like possibly you might be taking some loan facilities. Yeah, that would be further direction. But at Postbank, I think our distinct is that the savings that you put in, there is no 15% withholding tax that is charged. That's a benefit.
All right, thank you very much. This final question I'm directed to Mercy. What is your experience with youth in business financing? And other than that, he also asks, with regards to counties, do you have any work that you've done with business financing in the counties? And how can counties improve the business ecosystem? I know this is largely based on the government,
yes,
but you could make a recommendation on how counties can improve the business ecosystem to encourage youth to do more business and entrepreneurship, especially with regards to business financing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that question. I would say that based on the census, the 2019 census, 75% of the population is youth. That is 35 million Kenyans. Between the age of 18 and 34, we are 26%, that is 13 million. So this is such a huge group that the government cannot ignore. And that is why they have come up with instruments or programs that are enabling young people to access finances to be able to develop their businesses. For example, there's the youth fund where money is available. There's also the government access to procurement opportunities. These are opportunities that are given specific interest to youth. And of course, the 30% rule in government procurement. So we need to be very aware of these opportunities and cash on them. The government is willing. The money is there. And actually, one of the things that we are doing is partnering with these stakeholders, the Ministry of Youth Affairs, to be able to give this information to the youth, that these facilities are there. Can you use them to advance yourself? There's also the Women Enterprise Fund and the GAF. That is the fund for the women.
Affirmative Action Fund.
The government affirmative action fund. Those facilities are there. So even at the county level, can we look for those opportunities? There's also another opportunity called KEO, Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities, where they're training the youth on entrepreneurship and business skills. Then they give you a small amount to start a business. So these facilities are there, and we need to maximize on those opportunities.
Right. Thank you very much. That is all from our live audience, and also would like to bring this to a close. And Mr. Benson, what would you tell young people as a parting shot? What would be your advice to young people with regards to finances, the opportunities available to them, and how to go about their lives with regards to that?
Okay, I think I have to stress that money matters matter. It's good to have positive conversations with money, and for us to achieve the Vision 2030, because Kenya desires to be a middle industrialized economy, we have to increase our rates and level of savings, and there is no little money. There's no little money, and the most important, start your saving today.
Mercy, as a parting shot.
Thank you so much. For me, I would encourage the youth to maximize the opportunities they have, and also to value the importance of time. Like, time makes all the difference. Whatever you start, give it time to grow. It will not be a one-time wonder. You wake up today and tomorrow you're rich. So give whatever opportunity that you're working on time, and you will see the benefits. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us, and thank you very much, Mr. Wanyoike and Mukami, Mercy, for being with us here today and teaching us a lot about finances and the financial literacy programs, plus also just giving us solid advice based on what young people need to understand and know with regards to finances. We look forward to engaging with you even more, and even practically to see some of the programs and what we can do with youth on the ground, because we would love to see the impact taking shape on the ground, so that we don't just limit ourselves to these conversations. We also want to see things happening practically. So thank you very much for coming this wonderful day. We really appreciate your presence. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Speak Out from the Youth Agenda, and today we are all about money matters, and as Mr. Wanyoike said, money matters matter. Thank you very much, and see you guys in our next session.
Okay.